In this video, I will be ranking every Minecraft interactive block in a tier list. That's right, I'll be ranking the absolute worst and the best interactive blocks all in this video, and now, the tier list. First up, a block that everyone loves, anvils. Anvils are used to repair things like tools, weapons, and armor, but that's not all. They could also rename items and even apply enchantments. Anvils are an absolute necessity when playing Minecraft, but they're not all good. They do degrade over time, and they cost a lot of iron to make, so I'd say they're definitely more of a mid to late game block. But like I said, they are a necessity in your world, and they also fall, which is pretty cool, so I think anvils are a good tier. Now looms. So looms were added back in 1.14 and can spawn naturally in villages. They're used to customize banners to make them have different colors and patterns, which is cool, but that's about where they stop being useful. No one really needs a loom in their world, but it's still nice to make cool banners with. Looms are a pretty good faulty tier. Smokers. Smokers are basically furnaces, but only for food. They'll cook any food at twice the speed as a normal furnace, but also use fuel at twice the rate as well. Smokers can be really efficient for, well, cooking food quickly, although they won't cook coarse fruit because pop coarse fruit technically isn't food, since it's not edible. Also, just like looms, smokers can naturally spawn in villages. Overall, smokers are helpful, but for a really specific use. Smokers are in average tier. Now grindstones. So just like the loom and the smoker, grindstones can naturally spawn in villages. They're similar to anvils in that you could use them to put two items together and mix them into one to repair their durability. But one big difference is that grindstones will take off any enchantment an item has on it, and it will also give you XP for doing that. It's a really unique feature that is pretty useful, but also a little too similar to anvils. Grindstones are in average tier. Brewing stands. Brewing stands are used to brew potions. You could craft brewing stands with a blaze rod and some cobblestone, or just like the loom, smoker, and grindstone, you could also find them in villages. Now, if you want potions like speed or strength, then you're probably gonna want a brewing stand. That is, if you could remember how to brew all the potions correctly, because there are a lot of them. Either way though, brewing stands are very unique and just look cool. Brewing stands are a good tier. Blast furnaces. So blast furnaces are just smokers, but for ores. They smelt at twice the speed as normal furnaces and consume fuel at twice the speed as well. I think they're just as useful as smokers, but for ores instead of food. And just like the loom, smoker, grindstone, and brewing stands, blast furnaces can be found naturally in villages. And I think blast furnaces are in average tier. Now shulker boxes, the chests that never end. So shulker boxes are basically a normal chest, but with one amazing difference. When you break a shulker box, all the stuff that was in there stays in there, and then you could just place it back down and get all the stuff back out. It's basically like a backpack, although you can't put a shulker box inside of another shulker box, which does make sense because that would just create infinite storage and be a little OP. And speaking of OP, I wouldn't exactly say shulker boxes are OP because they are pretty difficult to get since you have to go all the way to the end just to obtain them. Shulker boxes are just an extremely useful and well-balanced late game block. Shulker boxes are a really great good tier. Now cartography tables. Now I'm guessing most of the Minecraft players don't know what this block really does, and I don't blame them. The cartography table is a block or table that is used to zoom out, lock, and clone maps. If I had to guess, it's mostly used for people who want to make a map wall, but other than that, it just doesn't seem too useful. It's very specific, kind of like the loom, and also like the looms, smokers, grindstones, brewing stands, and blast furnaces, you could find cartography tables in villages. But that doesn't make them much better. Cartography tables are a faulty tier. The enchanting table, or enchantment table. Either way, the enchanting table is a block where you put a book, tool, weapon, or armor into a slot, and then some lapis lazuli into another slot, and then it makes that item turn into a special color, and that's it. Oh, and not to mention, that color could also make things light on fire, knock back into oblivion, save you from taking a lot of fall damage, use XP to repair your item, make things not break as fast, and have items do more damage, and more. That's the enchanting table for ya. But really, the enchanting table is great, but I do feel like it used to be a lot better. Especially since now there's so many ways to get enchanted books that there never used to be. The enchanting table also costs a lot to make, especially when you consider just how many bookshelves you need to use it to its fullest. I just honestly think the enchanting table is a pretty meh good tier. Now trapped chests. Trapped chests are just like normal chests, except when you open them, they'll emit a redstone signal. Now this can be used for a whole lot of things, like an opening floor or an arrow that shoots at you. It's a neat little block for people who like redstone and messing with their friends. You could craft it by taking a tripwire hook and putting it in a crafting grid with a normal chest. I wouldn't say it's a replacement for normal chests, but it's a cool little thing to troll people with. Trapped chests are in average tier. Ender chests. Chests that are ender themed. But that's not all. Ender chests are like normal chests in that you could store stuff in them, but they're more like the cloud storage version of chests. That's right, all ender chests will have the same items in it, but not for all players, just for yourself. It really sticks with that teleporting gimmick that ender themed things tend to have. Now ender chests are of course incredibly useful, but also pretty hard to make, requiring 8 obsidian and 1 eye of ender. You also can't put 2 ender chests next to each other to make a double ender chest, probably due to balancing reasons. Overall, ender chests are a good tier. Now smithing tables. So smithing tables were originally added in 1.14 but didn't have any use at all the way until 1.16. Why? I don't know, but what I do know is that smithing tables are now used to upgrade diamonds into netherite, and that's about it. It doesn't cost any XP to upgrade, and it won't remove any of the enchantments that the items had on it before. You just simply upgrade diamonds to netherite, and I kind of like how simple it is. Also, just like the loom, smoker, grindstone, brewing stand, blast furnace, and cartography tables, smithing tables are also found naturally in villages. Overall, smithing tables are in average tier. Barrels. They're basically chests, but a full block. Barrels are nice if you want to store something, but also want it to fit nicely in with the rest of your build so there's no gaps, unlike chests that aren't a full block. Now, just like ender chests, you can't put 2 barrels together to make a double barrel, which is kind of a shame. And honestly, if you could do that, I think barrels would be just as good, if not better, than chests. But you can't do that, although what you can do is find barrels in villages, just like looms, smokers, grindstones, brewing stands, blast furnaces, cartography tables, and smithing tables. But really, barrels are a good tier. Now furnaces, one of the most recognizable interactive blocks in Minecraft, right up there with chests and crafting tables. But just because furnaces are recognized, does that mean that they're good? Well, let's see. Furnaces smelt things, cook things, and just incinerate things in general. Furnaces aren't as fast as smokers or blast furnaces, but they could cook just about anything that can be cooked. And I think the conveniences of having all of your smelting needs be met with one simple block is what makes the furnace a great block. No, a best block. Furnaces are a best tier. Now stone cutters. Oh boy, alright, here's the deal. Stone cutters are used to craft variants of a block, like turning stone into stone brick or cobblestone into cobblestone stairs and more. But here's the problem, I just don't understand the point of stone cutters. I mean, yeah, it lets you turn stone into different variants and shapes of itself, but you could already do that with a crafting table. The only benefit that stone cutters gives you is that it's a little faster than a crafting table, and get this, it will cost 2 blocks less to craft stairs with a stone cutter than a crafting table. 2 blocks and only for stairs? Am I even reading this correctly? Mojang, what are we doing here? Yes, the stone cutter can save some time and 2 blocks worth of stone, but it all seems kind of useless for an entire block just to do only that. Stone cutters are a bad tier. Chests, an absolute classic. So chests were one of the first and are one of the most recognizable interactive blocks. Chests are what you would expect them to be, a block that can store an inventory's worth of items. Chests are great but have one big flaw, and that's that you can't open them up if they're underneath a full block, which can get annoying sometimes, but other than that, chests are great, especially since you could put 2 of them together to make a double chest. Chests are a best tier. Now command blocks. Now I don't know if this counts since you can't get this block in survival mode without cheating, but command blocks are an extremely good block for people who know what they're doing with commands. I've seen the type of things a couple of these blocks could do in vanilla Minecraft, and it's truly groundbreaking. I may not know how to use them all that well, but I see how much they've helped the game. Command blocks are a really good tier. Crafting tables, the block that half the game's entire title is dedicated to, and 4 grids in your inventory, but mostly this block. Let's be honest, we all know how the crafting crafting table works and what it does. And what it does do, it does it right. Using only 4 wooden planks to make and coming in at an impressive 16 pixels tall, the crafting table is an amazing block. And what they say about it is true. Whether you're in a dirt hut or a mansion, once you put that crafting table next to a furnace, it's a home. The crafting table is a best tier. Although crafting table could craft a lot of things, one thing it can't craft is my freedom. Because yes, I was forced to make this video.